You're listening to Pop This, the podcast where two women talk about everything pop culture. Here are your hosts, Lisa Christiansen and Andrea Warner.
So I have a certain kind of deodorant I like to buy, and it's cucumber.
I like cucumber too.
But why cucumber deodorant? Like, where did that come from? Like, I get lavender, I get baby powder. Cucumber is
just like a fresh scent, right? Like it's just like
so
cucumber
are lemons.
water.
There's not a lemon deodorant.
But why do you like it?
I like the freshness of the scent. Like it's.
Does it smell like cucumbers?
No, it just smells like fresh and bright and lively. Like when you have it's refreshing. When you have cucumber water, like at a fancy place.
Yeah.
It just like has that that kind of, and you know how like a lot of deodorants have really kind of gross smells or like aggressive smells or whatever. For some reason, cucumber is just lovely.
No, I love it too, but I just never. Why cucumber deodorant? Like, where was the thinking there? I'm gonna put this on the shelf. And women are going to come up here and they're going to be, They did actually try chai deodorant for a while. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That was a phase of Secret
That's not great.
No.
I really hate baby powder scented deodorant.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't want that.
Disgusting.
That's cloying.
It's
and why do I want to smell like a
awful.
baby? I don't know.
I don't even like vanilla.
I don't like vanilla either.
Vanilla.
It's too sweet.
Yeah, and then I don't want to do vanilla either, but I'm really intrigued by I think it's the only vegetable deodorant. Like, there's no spinach, there's no squash, there's no tomato, or that's a fruit. There's no, what I know.
I do think it was like decided at some point, like someone was just like, spas are chic. What do spas have that no one else has? Cucumber water. And then they were just like, cucumber, that's a fresh scent that people, especially women, love. All right, let's get on this. And then that's how it became a deodorant smell.
There must be annual meetings or whatever, like for different companies, though, where they meet up to see if there's a new scent they can introduce. You know, sometimes they're like weird scents, like in your laundry detergent, it'll be like Spring Day, which means nothing, right? But for some reason, I think now spring actually smells like laundry detergent as opposed to whatever spring does, right? Like, I've got a very clear sense of what a spring day smells like.
Or like fresh cut lawn.
Gain.
Yeah, yes. Gain is an aggressive one for sure.
But fresh lawn.
Yeah.
What is that? Like, why do you want your clothes to smell like fresh lawn? Like, I don't even know why there are certain scents associated with things like that don't belong. I feel like I'm doing the Fran Lebowitz documentary now. Like, I'm like really zeroing in on something that doesn't matter, but I'm going for it. So I just want to know about this meeting that these companies have where I'm just guessing they get an email and it says, bring 5 things that we've never put in a deodorant. 5 random things that come in. And it could be a real thing or it could just be a word. It could be power or something.
Yeah. Power is like a man's
like
deodorant.
Men's deodorant's called like Matterhorn.
Yeah, for sure. Or like Blue Tide or whatever. No, they would, but like, you know how like orange has never really taken off as a women's deodorant. Scent.
I remember.
I've seen grapefruit though.
Grapefruit. I was gonna say grapefruit is popular.
Yeah.
And especially if you go into like the natural deodorants section that are like much more sort of like, going beyond the gender binary. There's a lot of like lemon and thyme or rosemary and mint, those kinds of like slightly more boutique kind of nuanced.
More of a shampoo thing to me.
Yes. Well, because of Veda, like it's,
Yeah,
but just like a more nuanced sort of scent spectrum. But
I mean, I think it's even with like dish soap and everything like that, they keep having to come up with new scents for marketing purposes.
Just trying to create excitement.
Yeah.
Like I've tried many of those. I actually like lemon.
Yep.
Dish soap.
What about hand soaps? So in our house, it's kind of a constant battle about hand soaps because it's not a battle. That's like a bit of a exaggeration. But I do enjoy some florals like a gardenia or
Nice.
something
I always
like
use
that.
lavender. I'm just straight up lavender.
I like a
love it.
lavender as well. I don't like French lavender, but I like a regular lavender, straight up lavender. But citruses are much more popular, sort of for both of us.
Wait, what's the difference in smell wise between regular lavender and French lavender?
I think about 30 years. So a French lavender to me is like a much sort of like, just like kind of like a
Froofy? Too old lady?
just like well, I like a lot of quote unquote old lady scents, but like
Like
it does.
rose?
It's like adjacent to mothballs. No, I like rose
Oh,
actually.
okay.
But it just like
Adjacent to mothballs.
French lavender reminds me of like a lot of like mothball sort of like archival clothing kind of thing, like
French lavender makes me think of something that Coco Chanel would have used, though.
Yes.
And it would be like triple milled. And I don't even know what that means, but I know when I buy soap sometimes it says triple milled, and I'm like, all right, I'm worth triple milled.
You are worth triple
I don't know what the milling process is. I don't know why I need it done 3 times.
Yeah.
But I know it's an extra step that I want in my soap.
I love a lavender eucalyptus is really nice. That's like a good, I've told you guys about my soap guy.
Yeah.
Who's also my candle guy and my moisturizer guy.
And I've got a lip balm from you for Christmas, so yeah.
Yeah, like there's a lot of different options there, but right now I have I really love his lavender body butter because it's so thick. And it's like putting on.
You already did like a 15-minute ad for your soap guy.
Fine. I'm just.
We just hope you got some money for that, and we want it. So.
No, I have never gotten any free product from him for any placements. But I will say his command of scent, fantastic. Like he has a nose on him that is unparalleled.
I know, like in the scent world, like I like to wear the perfume Diptyque.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which. I'll tell you the origin of that. The only reason because there's a Lupe Fiasco song where he goes through all of, I think it's called Gold Chain. And he goes through this list of all the things he likes. And one of them was a moleskin journal. And I'm like, oh, me too. And then he says Diptyque candles. So I'm like, I don't even know what that is. I don't know what a Diptyque is. I know what a candle is. So I went into Hope through.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
I got a Diptyque candle.
Talk
and they're really
about
beautiful.
Influencing. Holy
Oh, yeah,
amazing.
no. I
That's
thought
incredible.
we're obviously, aligned here.
Yeah.
And so when I was in buying the very, very, very expensive candle,
Yep.
they said, would you like to try some of our scent?
Yeah.
And who says no to that?
No.
So I said, yes, of course I would like to try some of your scent. And now,
like you're a longtime customer now. Like
now I am a longtime customer of this French, and there's not very, like they only have like a few, like I think there's only like 15 or 20 of the scents. It's not like the Joe Malone where it just feels like everything, which I also very attracted to. But I remember buying one called Sea Oak and it smelled like the sea.
Yeah.
Like, again, what am I trying? Why do I want to smell like the sea?
Well, the Joe Malones you're meant to layer, right? So you could do like sea oak plus like cherry blossom.
But why do you want to smell like any particular scent, right? It's all pretty arbitrary.
I love
it's all
perfume.
about,
I know.
But it's all about marketing, right? Like it's not someone just decided that, lavender is a scent that is like they want on their body. It's not, I don't know. Like that thing was meant to be
there's those scents I don't really
scent.
care for anymore. Like I think at some point I wanted to smell like sandalwood.
But
why though?
But there
I
are
don't know.
But there are essential
Exactly.
oils. Like I mean, there've been perfumeries for hundreds of years. Like it's
well, that
not,
used to be to get rid of the stench of the filth on the streets, right?
Yeah. But I mean, I think like my one of my favorite scents, as I'm sure both of you know, is Le Labo Bergamot 22. Why is everything I love about this scent like what is it? I don't know, but I just, for some reason, bergamot and whatever else they put in this thing, it just feels to me like the
bergamot they put in Earl Grey tea.
Yes, but it's Bergamot 22 has like a bunch of other scents as well, and like the scent profile is like deeply layered. Anyway, but I just like whenever I smell that, I just am like, this feels like me, or the me that I want to project to the world. You know what I mean?
Yes. I don't. And the funny thing about scent too is that you're not allowed, wrong word, but it would be weird to walk around just like smelling yourself.
I do it all the time.
Do you?
All the time. I smelled myself just right now. I smell so nice. Well, I'm Andrea Warner.
I'm Lisa Christiansen.
I'm Andrea Gin.
And you're listening to Pop This. So nice
The
to
cucumber
see you
pickle edition.
Yeah, the cucumber.
That should be our deodorant scent.
Cucumber pickle is our new signature scent. Well, AG created a signature lipstick for us.
She did, yeah.
In, Christmas 2019. And so, hopefully Christmas 2021.
I can do it. Yeah.
Yeah, could you work on our signature
I love how you
scent?
just said it like that. I can do that.
Yeah.
I don't know why. If there's someone out there thinking I can't, they're wrong.
You're
are
both going to
so
get
wrong.
like full sets of cucumber pickle soaps.
I'm going to splash it on like those commercials where they just like those shots when they've got like a bottle and they're just pouring it and it's just like everywhere.
I love the person listening to us right now who's like, how long is it going to take them to say, oh, that's kind of redundant. Cucumber pickle scent is...
But they smell totally different.
They do, but that's the best part. You're going to... Could you create scratch and sniff stickers that are side by side and one half of the sticker is cucumber deodorant and the other half is pickle brine? And then we can just go back and forth, one for each nostril.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. Wow.
Easy.
Easy.
I have
Just
jars
now
of...
I have the screen image of you in a lab coat with some beakers. Going back and forth with a Bunsen burner.
Well, I love it, and I love that we're gonna talk about this movie, Crossing Delancey, which we've I had never seen it.
No,
If
me
I had,
neither.
I don't. It's like from 1988. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I have seen it, I've forgotten.
So this is
And I thought it was a completely different movie. Like I had some vague idea it was like a sad movie about someone dying. Maybe it was not what I expected at all.
great. Well,
I don't know why I thought that either.
I don't know either, but I love it. I love it so much. Lisa, do you want to say why we're doing this?
Yes, I will. I will say that. So this is because I'm just going to read what you wrote.
Yeah,
'cause
sure,
it's so
yeah.
good. There were a lot of great women involved in this film, including director Joan Micklin, Silver, who recently passed away at the age of 85. We're exploring Silver's career and focusing in on this fascinating rom-com about a single Jewish woman in her early 30s in New York circa 1988.
Perfect. Thanks. AG, do you want to do background?
Sure. Crossing Delancey is a 1988 American romantic comedy film starring Amy Irving and Peter Reigart. Joan Micklin Silver directed it, drawing upon a play by Susan Sandler, who also wrote the screenplay. Amy Irving was nominated for a Golden Globe for the film for Best Actress in a Motion Picture, or Comedy, or Musical.
So I'm just going to quickly read our synopsis, although I'm sure everything you just both said kind of covers it. But this is from the UCLA Library Film and Television Archives. Starring Amy Irving as Isabel Grossman, Crossing Delancey chronicles the parallel allegiances of a single 30-year-old New Yorker who goes back and forth between the Lower East Side, where her lovable and meddlesome Jewish grandmother hires a matchmaker for her, and the Upper West Side, where she lives as a late 80s independent, quote-unquote, single woman trying to make it in the publishing world. I had no idea that this movie involved so much about writing and publishing and books, and that was very exciting to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we haven't seen it before. So what were your first impressions, and what did you like, and what, if there are things you didn't like about it, what were some of those things as well? Lisa, do you want to go first?
Sure. I guess because we've all watched so many romantic comedies in a lifetime, I just felt that it was just a very sweet and small story, and it wasn't filled with even a great passions or anything. It was just it was like a realistic rom-com, if that's at all possible. So, not looking for that, there's not some sort of speech in the movie where when you meet him, you'll know, your eyes will, well, to be fair, that's how Sam felt. But anyway, it wasn't that movie where it was about somebody making some kind of huge, gigantic decision. It was like actually a very subtle movie about a woman realizing that she could expect more from her life. And I thought it was very sweet and small that way, not like a bang you on the head. This one relationship will change everything. But it was still really lovely.
Yeah. Yeah. Was there anything that you didn't like, or should we come to that?
Things I didn't like. Yeah, I mean, I guess I didn't really feel I got too much of a sense of her. I don't know if anyone else felt that about Isabel. We just sort of start, I don't know how she got into publishing. Does she write as well?
Yeah, I have no idea if
I
she
don't
does.
know. Yeah. I don't know who the guy is with the beard. I guess we're just to assume that that's just a really sad, depressing thing that you don't need to know more about.
Perfect amount of information is just your ex who's involved with somebody else but shows up on your door for sex. Your married ex who shows up on your door and knows that you'll have sex with him because neither of you particularly hold the institution of marriage in high regard.
Yeah, and she was I think it was something, there was something very passive about her, but at the same time, she's a very, very good person. And so
Is she though? Because I have that question.
Oh.
I'm really...
No, okay, well, no, that's fair. No, it's fair because she's kind of cruel, actually, to Sam. Yeah. So you're right. Yeah. Let's... She has a definite... It kind of, this is silly, but it had a bit of a Saturday Night Fever feel to me.
Interesting. All right.
Where, trying to leave the neighborhood and not be associated with it. And then there's somebody kind of dragging her back and no, I'm out. I'm not going back. This is not who I am anymore. So there was definitely, I want to become this new person, even though I have no idea who that is.
Yeah, just like a class consciousness kind of. Yeah. Okay, well, let's come back to some of that stuff. AG, what about you? What did you like and what were your impressions and what did you dislike?
Well, so like I said, I went into it thinking it was going to be a deeply sad movie about someone crossing Delancey, crossing.
Is that a euphemism for death? You were saying, you weren't sure? Oh, yeah. Okay.
And so I had to make a real sort of leap into oh, this is a rom-com. Oh, this is about kind of Jewish culture, and which I don't know much about, and so it was a real journey for me from the beginning to the end of the movie.
I bet.
And but I thought it was all the things Lisa was saying. It's nice and sweet and charming, and you can't not like the pickle man. I mean, and I can see at the end of it, I was kind of well, what was there anything special about that movie? But it was I think if you look at it as Jewish people seeing themselves represented in a rom-com, I can see how it would be really meaningful for someone to watch that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't necessarily think it's something that stands out to me as an amazing rom-com or anything like that. But it's just it's a nice, sweet story, and it kind of depicts a version of New York that doesn't exist anymore. That it was kind of, it's nice to see the kind of regular working man's New York of the 80s.
Yeah. I think, I think all of that, so I had never seen it before either. And I think I liked it a lot, actually. Even more so than I had thought I would. And I think partly because I don't like a lot of traditional rom-coms, and I'm still working my way towards a greater sense of rom-com appreciation. And this for me is kind of one of those things that I think of as a great rom-com, because I think that Izzy is actually kind of I like her, but I also don't like her. I don't think she's a very good friend. I don't think she's she treats people with much respect. I think Amy Irving's performance is amazing. I think she's really good. And obviously that connection that she has with her bubby, I love that. Obviously, as someone who's deeply close with my grandma. But what I also really love is that like she's really, you know, she's in her early 30s, she's single, she's not married, and she's not particularly thinking that like marriage is necessarily her story. You know, like she's like, this is a rom-com in which she's not actually like necessarily interested in the rom or the com. Like she like her fascination with this other writer that she has this crush on, who's obviously terrible and is such a classically wonderful, terrible writer.
Yes,
like
he did a really good job.
A terrible man and a writer, like a great combination. You know, her attraction to him is more about his writing ability and his power and standing in the community, not really about him as a person, you know? And I really love getting a protagonist who is like kind of unlikable, you know, like they're not super worried. And I think it's kind of a bold choice for like, you know, even to this day, like when you let women be just real and they don't have to be wholly likable. Like,
but also I feel bad thinking that in a way too, because like in the first scene where, so the matchmaker is at the house, Bubby is there, and Sam shows up because she's been kind of blindsided by this whole proposition, but she's going to go through with it. And then all of a sudden, she's supposed to want to go out for dinner with him.
Oh, totally. Like, and
you know, and I kind of like, it was a lot of confidence just to look this man in the face and go, I don't want to go out with you again. Like, this whole thing is wrong.
But that's the thing. Like, I mean, I like that about her. Like, when I say about the unlikable stuff, it's more about just like the way she then toys with him and like plays with him. And she sets up one of her best friends with him and then screws over her best friend by like secretly going for him and like trying to get him back away from her. Anyway, so like I think there are like a lot of, but she's obviously like truly devoted to her grandma, you know. And so I love
but
that.
I think we should explain to people, because I think very few people who listen to this podcast will have watched the movie yet or know about it. But it's you know, like it's a story about a woman who's, you know, trying to maybe get away from her Jewish roots a bit and, you know, create her own life. And the sort of two love interest options are like, one's this pickle vendor that the matchmaker and her grandma really like and want her to date. And then her other romantic interest is this arrogant, awful author who's very handsome and successful, I guess, and therefore appealing.
And her her married ex, who she has casual sex with.
Yeah, although like I just kind of wrote him off from the beginning. I don't think he counts.
When he shows up and
shows
says that
up all the time.
He shows up all the time, and he shows up once his wife has kicked him out. So I think he's coming back to sort of like be like, well, Izzy puts up with me, and she'll have sex with me. So
yeah, and there was a bit of a sense of like, you know, perhaps until she figures out what she's going to do, it's fine. Like, she didn't seem to be particularly bad about that.
The arrogant author character, Anton.
Yeah.
I know that, you know, like we're supposed to dislike him. We're supposed to think he's the worst person on earth. And this is like, he's a common character in many, you know, romantic storylines.
He's also a common character in the literary world.
Yeah.
Like, do you know how many men I've met exactly like this guy? Anyway, sorry.
We've seen this person many times come up in stories, but for some reason, watching it yesterday, I was like, it was extra grating on me. Like this whole storyline, like I couldn't stand it. Like the way he's so dismissive of her and like treats her like a secretary and wants her to be his assistant and all that stuff. It just like enraged me. And I got to that scene where like they're about to kiss or whatever. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to turn this off right now because this made me really mad. And I'm just not going to find out what happens because, like, I'm so done.
It started making me think about, and I'm just going to speak about these people as if I know them because I feel at this point in my life I do. It's like watching The Holiday when Iris lets Jasper in again after he's sent his pages for her to look at. Uh-huh. And then she lets him in again.
So. Because, like, we're all
AJ, did you not finish the film?
No, I did, but like everybody's rooting for the pickle man for the whole movie. And I know that they're doing that on purpose just to string you along and stuff like that. But I just like, for some reason at this time, at this point in my life, that man character, that author character really just drove me over the edge.
I know, and I kind of felt that way too. And it's weird because it's sort of like, this is from 1988. So was this the, he must have shown up in some other like, that stock character in other movies, but if you think about it, this is probably one of the earlier ones of those. Do you think of 88 or?
Oh no, I think this is a character who's been.
I think
around
you've got
since,
mail. There was like her husband was like that or something. Meg Ryan's wasn't it?
But I think like this is the kind of character like that's been around like since like the 30s and 40s.
Oh,
in
maybe
film,
yeah. Okay,
you know,
yeah.
like just like even to a certain extent, oh my God, it's one of the movies that we watched from like the 40s or 50s. No, maybe the 30s or 40s, like a couple of years ago, where he's like a newspaper publisher and she's...
The Philadelphia Story?
Philadelphia Story, I think.
Yeah.
Like even that to a certain extent has like elements of this character in it.
Yeah.
But I just like, for our times, I'm just so sick of that like successful male author gets fawned over by women in bookstores and all these like book events. People are just lined up to, fawn over him. I just like, I hate that.
I wonder
hate
what
that.
it is
I don't
too.
want to see it anymore.
I agree with you, but there's some sort of, I don't know. I always try to break that down and think, is it because we think that they must be insightful or interesting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Whoa.
Yes.
Just yeah. It's not like, it's not like they're actors or models or cops or something, which is really aggressive.
Uh-huh.
It's like we assume that they have some sort of extra dimension to them because they can sit alone.
Yeah. And honestly, how many of
things.
those men are even really actually writing their own finished manuscripts? How many of those men have women in their lives who actually are doing the work for them in the long run?
And that idea that if you even took a job with him, he might phone you at 3 a.m. to tell you an inspiration. Like, oh my God.
And expect you to have sex with him.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
But like even like this idea of the book soirees or whatever, the private book clubs they have going, the readings she organizes at night, I'm just like, that bugs me too. That is so like, I hate that like elitist, snobby. Like the pickle guy tries to come to one of them and he totally,
can see right
like,
through it.
Yeah, exactly. And he leaves. Like that's me. Like out of there.
I would still like to hear that woman's story about the 4 naked men in a cabbage myself.
I would like that as well. I think if let that woman hold course.
And she was amazing. Like for Andrea, you must have liked that, HE. That she must have loved the feeling when she was taking Mr. Dutch guy down a step there, and he's like, "I read your books." Like, and she's like,
honestly, that little salon scene was great just to see him leveled a little bit. Like,
like, why is there a scene like that in every town, in every bookstore in every town in the world? There's like an elitist group of people who gather in a bookstore to drink wine and talk about like some author's like dumb books.
Well, I was thinking I can't wait to get back to those. Sorry.
Yeah, I hate to break it to you, but I end up involved in some of those scenes
like
sometimes.
Those.
Yeah, like sometimes I like it, and it's not. No, I don't like the elitism of it. I don't have a lot of patience for that. So I don't want to sit around and have like a literary circle jerk. Like that's not my idea of a good time. But I do enjoy like sort of like hanging out with people and talking about books. Like that's not the worst.
Yeah, no, I mean,
yeah,
I think I do.
I mean,
too.
I think you can do that in a book club kind of format. I don't know that.
But not everyone in the book club's written a book. Mostly you read the book.
Well, see now, Lisa, like you're going into the author worship thing territory, where we started this conversation.
Well, though, to be fair, I if there's some sort of skill set that I don't possess, I probably can get into the workshop. I mean, I'm sure if I met like some handsome man that was an ice sculptor, I could probably be all, let's go hang out with some ice sculptors. Like
as an author, I want you to worship me.
We worship you though, because we do.
Can we talk about something that I found like I really didn't like about this movie?
Yeah, please.
That scene where she gets into a random car that I guess is a cab. And
And it's
like
suddenly it's hijinks.
It's like a totally racist
Yeah.
scene inserted in this movie where it's
Yeah.
like, oh, this movie's about like Jewish people being kind of marginalized, I guess.
You weren't
and,
thinking
like,
that when they were in the sauna?
The sauna is also a racist
Yeah.
scene. Like,
Yeah.
It's not like it is.
And-
yeah.
Yeah, I just found that scene where, like, just to explain it to people who haven't seen it, it's like she gets into an unmarked cab, which I guess existed in the 80s, just driving around New York. And I guess, like, this couple from Jamaica are driving it, or the characters are written that way, and they don't know where they're going or what they're doing, and
Also, the driver
They're
does not know how to
speeding and-
drive the car.
yeah.
So his wife or
And he-
girlfriend is like sitting next to him and reading to him instructions about how to drive the car.
And at one point, he turns around and like leers at her, and
Yeah.
she clutches her pearls.
Mhm.
And yeah, I just was really confused by the insertion of those kinds of moments in the movie.
Yeah, it's
You didn't find that the calm part of the
It's-
rom-com? No,
it's
I
not
didn't
it's
either.
not great, and
No.
especially I agree with you, like especially like racism for like laughs is like such a trope of so many movies in like the 70s and 80s and 90s and let's face it, 2000s, and it just sticks out so badly, and it sort of like brings the movie to a grinding halt, you know.
Agreed. Especially with, grinding halt, the car had to stop. So that
Well, that
yeah.
too. That too.
But
Yeah.
let's talk about Sam. Because this is a very interesting, I find this is a rom-com thing too. And the nice guy, right? Why you don't like the nice guy. And there's actually, in 1988, when she says you're a nice guy, he winces. That's how bad
He's
being called the nice guy is.
He literally says, "You've wounded me" or something.
Yeah, you've wounded me. So what is it about that thing too, that the women don't like nice guys? Like we've been hitting this one for a long time, and I just don't get it, and I don't believe it. But at the same time, I could get in the film when they do the nice guy, it had something to do with weirdly, I guess, her settling. Is that what do we think it was?
I feel like he's like it's again, it's like part of the class thing here, is that she assumes because he's like a working class dude who, like, let's face it, owns his own business. That's not like that working class anyway, but because he like handles pickle and they all call him a pickle man, like she is noticeably surprised that he takes Margaret to the theater. She is noticeably surprised that he reads.
Yeah.
She is noticeably
Yeah.
surprised about all kinds of different things, that like other interests he might have. Because she has just like, she has like so much sort of like internalized,
That's yes.
you know, like
Yes.
sort of issues around that kind of stuff.
And I feel like we could have explored that a bit more with her in this movie.
And I mean, that's actually
Yeah.
kind of one of the things that I sort of like identified with her about, is just like that when you come from like I don't know what her like sort of like family sort of lineage is, because it certainly seems like her and her grandma have all kinds of things in, like, at least a really deep foundational love, but she seems to want sort of you know, this sort of like glittery role in the publishing world, and just like sort of her proximity to that is being in this bookshop where, you know, she's like the right hand person to the owner of the bookshop, and this is like a big deal. She lives on her own in her own apartment. Like, she is attempting to sort of, you know, move into this like a slightly different sort of worldview that values intellectualism and prizes like sort of that kind of like artistry above like you know, sort of like industry. And I am empathetic to that as someone who like for sure was accused all the time as a kid of being super snobby because I liked to read.
Just as a kid?
And now, yes. No, now people value my street smarts because I never got a degree. So like I really, it's like, but like it was like a real thing, like, or maybe it was an imagined thing, but it felt real to me. It's just that like wanting to like go to the theater and wanting to like read certain kinds of books and like wanting to write poetry and wanting to like write certain kinds of books and stuff, like all that kind of stuff. Like it just, like I kind of felt early on like I had to leave elements of my like family life behind in order to be able to like achieve those kinds of things. And I know now like that's not true. But when I was younger and I didn't have like a bunch of different other world experiences, I really thought that, you know, you had to make a choice. And I like what Izzy's journey through all this is to like confront her own ideas of what that is, because that's what happens when she recognizes how the writer is using her and she tells him to like, you know, go to hell. And then she's desperate to get back to actually like give Sam a chance. And she's worried that she has blown it. You know, I'm empathetic to that narrative that she sort of goes on in this film. And that's why it doesn't feel like, it feels like a small film, but it also feels kind of like a really big film, because that's like a big theme that a lot of people go through.
But it also, I can see why there was that reluctance too, because at the end of our movie tells us that her grandma was right all along.
Well, yeah,
but I mean, it's a classic storyline, right? That you reject the person that your family likes, or your parents like, or your grandparents like, or the elders in your community like you, or that has the same background as you and it comes from a good family and seems appropriate. Like that is always the person that you don't want to get matched with.
But then it's an interesting out that they give us in the story, which I guess is also in the play, in that she finds out he wasn't looking for a matchmaker. Yeah. He was happy like her, just being on his own, doing his own thing, living his life.
But he was in love with her. He had been in love with her for like a number of years. And I honestly did not expect to be swooning over any man in this film from the outset. I did not expect to say to myself, well, I don't actually know if Izzy deserves him.
No, I agree with you. I agree.
I was like, how have I come
Especially
to this?
when she was late for the date because she was.
Yeah.
I mean, but at least she was honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, you know, like we aren't. I guess we see her taking care of her grandma, and that's like how we're supposed to know that she's a good person. But like, what is her passion in life? Like, is she a writer? Is she like, what does she want to do?
Yeah, we have no idea. I mean,
I don't know what she did at the bookstore.
Well, it seemed like she ran it and she booked readings and handled that kind of stuff. And like, that is like a legitimately difficult job. And, you know, you could move into sort of like publishing and publicity and marketing and all that kind of stuff. Like, I think like those are reasonable pathways for her, but we don't know why. We don't actually necessarily see that writing is important to her. We see the glory. I didn't even see her read. No, we don't even see her read. We see the glory of publishing success is important to her. And those are two different things, you know? Like so I'm curious as to if the play, because I mean, so it's a play first, and the playwright wrote the film, and I think it's actually a pretty successful adaptation. Like I only felt like it was I didn't know for sure that it was a play in the beginning, but I think when Sam says to her, how do I talk to Isabel? That's when I was like, oh, this is definitely a play. Like there's some monologuing here, you know? And but I think it's like a pretty successful adaptation from my perspective. But we don't. Maybe we find out more in the play what Isabel actually cares about. Like maybe there's something sort of like a little bit, I don't know, that they just, because it seems like it's weird that we don't know if she's actually a writer.
And another thing too is like I don't really get a sense of why he's still keen sometimes, because she's done everything she possibly could.
It's so rude, right?
Yeah, except for that one night when they're at the reading and then they're gonna go back and have champagne, and I don't know why he doesn't stay. Why does he leave? Because Nick arrives, but they could have just told Nick to leave.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things there. Like, I mean, I think the reason that he sticks around is because this is like actually very much like a rom-com that women have written and directed and are in charge of. Like this woman doesn't deserve Prince Charming necessarily, but we all deserve a Prince Charming in our own ways, and like whatever that looks like, you know, like so this is a movie that tells us, like, you know, this and also, I mean, whatever, if you're gonna fall in love with someone at first sight like 3.5 years ago and then carry a torch for someone for like that long without ever talking to them, you're gonna stick around for all kinds of different ways that they humiliate you.
Yeah,
and I feel like though, like her best friend just gets such a short.
She is shafted, like that is like, and she's so good. I love her.
But like, why didn't these women write a better story for her? She's like a good person who is honest and goes on a nice date with him, and they seem to get along, and yet he's like, nope, rejecting you for this woman, this beautiful woman. I'd prefer this beautiful woman who treats me badly.
But honestly, like, there's something, I mean, I agree with you that like her best friend deserves a better story and a better best friend. But like, I also, there is something weirdly refreshing about like a character who is conflicted and doesn't really know herself that well, and she's not punished for it. Like someone is willing to sort of see her maybe through her grandmother's eyes, actually, in the long run, you know, like he hangs out with her bubby and they talk so much, and she's like, her grandmother's like telling these stories, and she has like these, and again, like there's a lot of like sort of old fashioned elements to it that I wouldn't normally be that like sort of into, but I think because of the slight flip of the script, which is that she's not desperately seeking a man, but this man is desperately seeking her. I feel it's kind of a nice spin on how we see a lot of rom-coms.
Yeah. But I didn't see, I guess usually in the sort of these scenarios, which are mostly the same in all rom-coms, it's a moment where the woman realizes like she just realized she'd made a mistake on this one man, but I didn't get a sense that she had some sort of idea that, I don't know, it was a little bit unclear as to why she's so sad and rushes to him. Is it because she's falling in love with him? Is it because she feels bad? Is it because she got like rejected in a really powerful and awful way?
I honestly thought it was because she just realized that like all of this like sort of facade that she's been working towards is kind of a lie, and she's been kind of denying like herself, who she is, by like that sort of like that internalized like sort of self-loathing of like rejecting your roots, rejecting your culture, rejecting like your origin story, as it were, because you think like the class hierarchy is sort of, you know, better as you climb. I don't know. I felt like she had wanted to go to him, and then she got sucked into this whole thing where he was like, I need your opinion on my writing. Yeah. And like her value as an editor, as a reader, is so tied up in like what she thinks of where her value needs to be. Like that's what I understood to be like why she was able to reject him when she realized, duh, I'm like so dumb, and then rushes out of there and is just really hoping that she has, like, she knows this is like the 4th time she's like been terrible to Sam and he's not going to stick around forever. But like, you know,
he would though.
But maybe, well,
I don't
maybe
know.
he
That's,
would.
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know. Like, I feel like the grandmother really talked him into something that night, and like just sort of she really made this kind of like desperate plea for. And then when she pretends that she doesn't know him, and that she has no memory of him, like she's really setting her granddaughter up, I think, in this moment to just be like, she's just shifting things slightly so that they can find themselves like close to her and have their like little romantic dance. I can't believe how much I fell for Sam.
No, honestly too, and
I was like, oh, I'm Mrs. Pickleman now. Okay,
and then
great.
he
Cool.
also, when he kind of clutches her for that first kiss they have.
The first kiss is so good.
It was a really good first kiss.
Like, she had been like, you know, sometimes you do need that first kiss to like be like, yeah, this is.
Yeah,
all
this
right,
can work.
This can work. Like, you've just been like thinking that like, oh, he's too nice for me to be. But you know, when he shows up in that suit that time, and that's another time she's like, oh my God, you own a suit? And I mean, gross. Like she's yeah.
Would you have not thought though? I'm sorry, just one
No,
thing.
it's fine.
The pickles, like grabbing them with your bare hand and
Oh my
throwing
God!
them, like,
when they all were grabbing pickles with their bare hands,
But that's how it's done.
is it?
Yeah.
What do you mean? They don't wear gloves or carry like a no?
No.
Imagine if you had
It's
a cut on your hand.
It's a what?
They're all brined in vinegar that kills like 99% of bacteria. It's fine.
But do you just
No,
like,
and it's like historically, that's just how the pickled barrels are set up in like Jewish.
There's
pickle
not like
stores
just
in Lower
like a
Side.
ladle or something. A ladle works.
Do you
a big
think it's?
ladle.
Have you ever tried fishing pickles out of a barrel? It's like you need fingers.
No, I didn't know you had though. I'm fascinated now.
oh my God!
Yeah, I was just a bit alarmed. That scene kind of. I get that. I mean, it makes sense later on. He talks about how his hands smell like pickles. So
I almost vomited. But
I mean, like he made the pickles, so his hands already touched the pickles before. Like
no, you don't have. I mean, you can wear gloves. I mean, I don't know.
No,
Is that so weird?
No. People use bare hands to make food.
So when they come
then
by,
sell
like
you.
the health inspector comes by, do they just give a pass because it's like the pickle guy?
I guess so at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know about that anymore.
Yeah, I don't know about that either. I'm
just gonna. So this has been called the ultimate Jewish rom-com. Jenny Slate has listed it as her one of her 5 favorite films, and how she watched it when she was a little girl, and she grew up with this movie, and she just loves everything about it. Quote, I loved the story of a progressive, intelligent Jewish New Yorker who was so bonded to her grandmother, but not necessarily to her cultural traditions. And what a great romance. There's nothing else like this movie. So it's very, very important to Jenny Slate. But I wanted to talk a little bit about Joan Micklin Silver, because I didn't know a ton about her, but when she passed away a few weeks ago, I watched like feminist film Twitter really like come together to mourn her, and I was really intrigued, and so I just wanted to like quickly read a little thing here. This is from USA Today. So Joan Micklin Silver, who forged a path for female directors and independent filmmakers with movies including Hester Street and Crossing Delancey, has died. She was 85. She died from vascular dementia in her home in New York. She used a combination of talent, fortitude, and luck to shoot 1975's Hester Street, her first feature, which she released when she was 40. Quote, Joan Micklin Silver was one of the most courageous artists I ever knew, Carol Kane, who was nominated for a Best Actress Oscar for her role in Hester Street, told AP in a statement. Quote, she knew she could prevail at a time when women were not taken seriously as film directors. So she was like pretty groundbreaking.
Have you seen Hester Street? I've never heard of it.
Seen it, but now I want to see it.
Yeah,
I also love Carol Kane.
Me too. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm like super intrigued, and I didn't know a lot about her. I had heard of Crossing Delancey before, but I had never seen it.
It's so fascinating to hear about the careers of someone like her and someone like Lynn Shelton, and how like they only made movies kind of like, you know, quote unquote later in their careers, like over 40. And just like the struggles like women had to go through to like get funded to get films made, and how they just like did it independently. And so, you know, like I'm glad we saw this.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm very glad.
Because
Yes.
like I hadn't seen it otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and even like so, Delancey's like Crossing Delancey, like it was made for $4 million, but it made $16 million. Like this is this is a
successful
success.
film. Yeah, yeah.
Like it made a lot of money, all things considered, you know. And so like I'm always like struck by the whole you can make a successful film as a woman or a non-binary person, and you just don't get other chances the way that like so many male filmmakers get all these chances, even if they've made so many flops.
Yeah.
It's really so frustrating. And I know we've seen this a lot in a lot of the films that we've covered, but I know that we you know, try to choose movies that like, you know, speak to sort of like women and non-binary folks and stuff, and like, and be it from like an acting perspective or a writing perspective or a directing perspective. But I just like, there's still so much more work that we can do. And it's both frustrating and I think like an area for a lot of growth in the next little while.
For us, or
well, hopefully the industry.
Yeah, okay.
Hopefully the film industry.
Yeah.
Like until we start financing our own films, which guys, like, do you want to start financing our own films? Like, should this be what we start doing? Pop this production.
I always thought that would be so much the fun if you won a really big lottery. Like a real,
amazing.
like, right? That you would just like 100 million or something, and then you could just be
go
giving
like a full aviator and.
But not even like
just one film then.
Yeah, just one big Michael Bay blockbuster, you know? Just instead of like starting some sort of production company or whatever, just, you know, look around, see some filmmakers and just, here's $1 million. Like, you know what? Like if you come out with a film at the end, terrific. If you just need some time to write something or to, have a life to write about. Here's your $1 million.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Right? Wouldn't that just be so great? And then when you died, people like us would do a podcast on, did you know that this person gave out all of this money?
But only once you died, because that's... No, I'm kidding.
No, but I mean, you know what I mean? Just to do something so... Like the fact that we just don't... maybe that's happened before or something, but I just feel like, all these voices we never, ever, ever got to hear from.
Oh, totally.
You know, that had so many stories just because, as you said, you know, wasn't hard for Francis Ford Coppola to get money to make a stinky movie, you know?
I guess he made a couple good ones too.
No, but he made some... No, but there were some ones that weren't great.
But we know that there are so many directors who are truly the height of mediocrity who are very successful.
The height of mediocrity.
Yeah.
Yes,
anyway.
I know. I remember reading about this one guy at Disney, and, you know, when it came time to hire someone new, he found this young guy and he said, made me think of me.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
That's all of the working worlds.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. Made me think of me, chip off the old block, you know, and you're just, oh my gosh, like, yep. And you're in a creative field, and that's what you used to think. Yeah.
The limits of the creative field are epic.
Yeah, maybe they're not in creative fields. They're money-making fields, let's be honest.
That's true.
People, right?
You're right. That's a good point. But, so Crossing Delancey, for me, it pops.
Oh, it pops for me, too. I would recommend it. And you know what? Yeah. It was just a $4.99 rental for me on YouTube. Yep. So, you know, splurge, people. Like,
get out there.
Yeah, you know? It's even... I'm not a huge fan of rom-coms, but I found it worthwhile to watch just to get this kind of perspective of being like a Jewish perspective on a rom-com.
Yeah, I did, and I also liked it again for it being a little more, like you said, that it's a complicated female character. Mm-hmm. I like the fact that it wasn't some sort of lightning bolt situation where these two people meet, and it was not as it wasn't as predictable. I really didn't know for sure.
Yeah, honestly, I was just about to switch it off after she kissed the author. It was just like, if this is how this is going, no thank you.
No thank you. Oh man, you must win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we love to leave our episodes on stuff we recommend that we're into right now. Lisa, do you want to go first?
Yeah, so I am still on my 50 book quest. Now I'm on my 6th book since I began in January, so not bad.
Great work.
And now I have started to read The Rules of Magic by Alice Hoffman, and it is the prequel to Practical Magic.
Oh my god!
Yes.
You know what? I've never read Practical Magic. So
neither have I. I've just seen the movie several times.
I love Practical Magic so much.
I love that. Yes. So anyway, same characters in here. And cool. I don't know why I'm holding it up like I'm selling it. No one can see it.
No, it's perfect. I want to see it.
Yeah, so I'm very much enjoying it, and I highly recommend it. To be fair, I'm on page 34.
So the first 34 pages
are really good. Yeah,
great. That's wonderful. AG, what about you?
Well, I binge watched this kind of French mystery thriller on Netflix called Lupin.
Oh,
yeah.
I can't wait! Is it that good?
Yeah, it's really good.
Oh, good.
The only thing you have to get used to is that it's dubbed.
You can't get subtitles?
Maybe I didn't look into it, but it's
Oh, usually on Netflix I can put subtitles on. But
okay, maybe you can.
Okay.
Well, you could put subtitles on everything, but like you could, it'll still probably be the dubbed version unless they give you a secondary option. Because once they dub it, they like to sort of get their money's worth.
Yeah, but it's about this like professional thief who's trying to avenge his father, who is like wrongfully accused of stealing this necklace from this rich family and then committed suicide in prison. And so
that old trope.
Yeah. It's very gripping. I highly recommend.
Oh, good.
That's awesome. That's great. I am going to recommend a concert live stream because we're still at home and I miss live shows, and I've been talking about this band since forever. Since 20.
Is this Led Zeppelin?
2014. Yes. Who knew I would go in a real new direction? No. One of my favorite local bands, Old Soul Rebel, are doing a live show at the Shadbolts on February 11th. And you can buy tickets at tickets.shadboltcenter.com. And I'm guessing you can watch from anywhere. So like, just get in there because Chelsea and Lola, they are the sort of co-lead people of the band, and they're just like wonderful. They're such talented musicians. They have been working at their craft for like a really long time. I saw them open for Adia Victoria at the Cobalt, I think in 2014, and I just like fell in love with them. I really hadn't seen anybody like them at the time in Vancouver. And they're super talented, and their music is like soul and R&B and rock and kind of like a little bit of like Alabama Shakes meets like
Weezer.
Hooray for the Riff Raff. Like, no, sorry, not Weezer. I'm so sorry. Alabama Shakes meets Hooray for the Riff Raff. That's how I would qualify it. Anyway, great band, Old Soul Rebel, live stream February 11th, Thursday at I don't know what time. But anyway, it's in the evening.
Well, we look at that. We covered you with music, TV, and books.
Love it. Love it so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening, for hanging out with us, for making us part of your lives in this real endless pandemic. It's so weird, but you know what I have to say? I think one of the I hate upsides to things, even though I'm relentlessly positive, kind of frustratingly so. I love being able to have wine while I record this podcast in my home. So,
and I thought you were going to say something touching about friendship.
Friendship?
Wow.
Oh, I love friendship too, but like we've talked
wine,
about that.
Wine is also her friend.
Look, we've talked about friendship.
How when you come when you come into Andrea's apartment, like sign that says, "Is it wine o'clock?" Like it's right there.
Someone bought me a tea towel that says that, and I I was like, I don't know who, like, I respect that you understand that wine's important to me, but like, I just think you're confused about who I am as a person. Like,
I went
I'm
into
so
a home,
sorry.
like one of those kind of home sensey places one day. I don't know who I was with, but we were like, everything in here is about wine. Like,
Yeah.
it was like all these wooden signs, you know, with all those little wine puns. And
Yep.
I just thought, wow, this is not a healthy place. This is
If
you
you
can
need
drink
to, like,
wine, but I don't think you need to
so
advertise it this much.
I need to rethink all our merch ideas for Pop This now.
Yeah, it's no longer women talking about pop culture. It's just women drinking about pop culture.
Well,
It's just-
maybe
we
now is
should
the
just- I
time
thought
we
we
launch
could
our own
just-
wine too, right? So that-
I would.
I thought we could just rebrand to calling ourselves like, Is It Wine O'Clock?
or it's wine o'clock somewhere. Maybe. They don't wine, but they sure love their wine. Things like that, I think
yeah.
would. Yeah.
Let's work on some of this. Let's like workshop this for like the rebrand.
Yeah.
And
It
yeah.
comes in rosé and wine. Now I'm thinking of that Schitt's Creek episode where they have to go and try all the wine.
oh, it's such a good episode. But yeah, you can also rate and review us on iTunes. 5 stars,
Have a couple
please.
of glasses of wine first and everything.
Just let your finger trip on that 5-star, please. Yeah.
And thanks again, as always, to our co-host and producer, Andrea Gin, and to all of you who join us, hopefully forever, because I think that's what we'll be doing. I don't know. I'm not
I
going
have
anywhere.
no other plans. Yeah.
I have no other. I have maybe some wine. I'm not going to lie to you, but
Yeah, thanks everyone.
bye.
Thanks.
Just a strangled bye.
Let me give a robust goodbye, good night, good day,
And good luck, everybody.
and good luck, because you're going to need it. Oh my gosh. Ugh.